time to rise and shine. Locale with Al would like to apologize for having to interrupt your morning routines with some breaking and unfortunate news. Former esteemed crime-fighting hero and mayor-in-waiting, Victor J. Waltz, was assassinated at his home late last night. According to the boys on the scene, the current theory is that an unknown assailant had managed to slink his way into the residence under the cover of night, dispatching of everyone present within the Waltz household. Aside from the man himself, his armored bodyguards have also been added to the numbers of bodies found. The scene was uncovered by a maid in the early hours of the morning, who swiftly contacted the authorities. One officer on duty offered his insight into the scene that greeted them. Quote, "In all my years in law enforcement, I've never seen anything like this." The suspect has been near impossible to identify at this time, but rest assured, folks, Switchblade's finest are on the job. No further details have been provided to the press at this time, but authorities do believe the case to be linked to the attempt made on Waltz's life last week. We'll update you if we hear anything more. There has been no comment from Mrs. Waltz nor her son, as both are currently in Europe on holiday. Authorities have sent a telegram to keep them in the loop and to ensure their arrival back home is safe and sound. Lionel McConnell, Waltz's opponent in the land of politics, has expressed his sincerest sympathies, publicly condemning whoever was responsible. With his competition in the ground, McConnell is expected to be taking the mayoral seat within the coming weeks. Lucky for him. Now, folks, in times such as these, it's easy to stay down in the dumps. It's tough news, but it's got to be broken. We're all feeling it. And together, we can put on our Sunday best and see it through till tomorrow. From the Billy Arts Orchestra, I'm all dressed up with a broken heart.
Like an actor that plays a part, I'm playing the role of a Jekyll and Hyde, an unhappy soul that keeps smiling outside. This world's a stage and we're all in the show. There's no applause for the loser, you know. And so with my chest up, I go all dressed up with a broken heart.
to dial Mickey.
I'm just out with the pals, just having a good time, when all of a sudden...
Excuse me, sir. Is that an exposed firearm on your person?
Yeah?
All right, pal. You're under arrest.
Oh, I ought to dial Mickey.
Hey, I'm Mickey Roswell. I believe that until proven guilty, every single man, woman, and child in this city is no sin. And that is why I fight for you, Switchblade City. Mickey Roswell, attorney at law. Mickey makes them pay. Dial Mickey at telephone 35087.
You're back to Locale with Al, with your host, Al Sweetman. It's been a rough week, folks, but the bad news just keeps on coming. You know what they say, when it rains, it pours. Chaos erupts throughout the lower city. A series of violent riots occurred last night, with businesses being bombed, looted, and burned. Accompanying all that, many citizens were found in the crosshairs of the perpetrators, resulting in many an assault across the city. Areas affected include the Crimson Court, West Hill, and both the Filcher and Briar Streets. The focal point of this chaos could be identified as Nightingale Street, where multiple targeted assaults and homicides took place. Norman Oakwood, aged 18, employee of Bud Street Comics, was identified as one of the targeted victims. Officers Robert Finch and Joe McCarney, who were not responding but on duty, were found dead at the scene at Zippy's Donut House. Additionally, a few tenants of the Royal Arms apartment block were added to the body count. These additions included Jack and Mary Stansfeld, found dead in their flat, and 40-year-old local Michael Thane was believed to have died in a possible gas explosion a few doors down. Whether it was part of the attacks or just a grim coincidence is up in the air. There's still a lot of smoke around why all this happened, so we'll keep you posted when we next meet. That ain't all that went amok last night. Elsewhere, there was a lot of commotion at the McCarthy waterfront. Gunfire rang out across the docks as a firefight broke out, with multiple casualties. Authorities are requesting any information from the locals regarding the involved parties. On top of that, a cargo ship had its contents stolen, which happened to include some illegal firearms, so I anticipate the fuss is only going to get worse. The first mate of the ship, a young Alan McClinsky, was found murdered on board, his captain nowhere to be found. And he ain't the only one up in smoke. A Dr. Stephen Brownstone, a marine biologist who was reportedly in the area at the time, has also gone missing. He was looking into the influx of shark attacks over the last few weeks, hoping to assist in bringing an end to it. Seems some folks just don't want things getting any better for us, eh, Switchblade City? In other news, tragedy hits the tracks, as a train near the waterfront struck a vehicle that was attempting to cross. The car was obliterated, its passengers killed nearly instantly upon impact. The locomotive, on the other hand, survived the clash, suffering some minor damage, whilst keeping its cargo and passengers shaken but intact. Surprisingly, authorities believe the incident to be connected to mob activity in the area, but other than that, they still have very little to say in terms of detail. The sun may be out, but the news is all stormy weather. It ain't unreasonable for folks to want things to get better. We're all getting real sick of the cold. Good thing we have Walter Davison's Louisville Loons to ask for change on our behalf. From Al's old stash, give me a little bit of sunshine. Switchblade City. You're listening to Locale with Al. We're thrilled to have you back with us. Uncomfortable time for baseball this week. A series of interesting events took place at the Stambaugh Stadium yesterday as the Umburg Strikers went head-to-head with the Mayville Beavers. The stadium was packed head to toe, with crowds drawn from all over by their famous 5-cent beer day. That's right, folks. 5 cents for all the beer you could drink. Both fans of the Strikers and the Beavers, having indulged in their fair share of alcoholic elation, were very enthusiastic in cheering on their respective teams. Maybe a little too enthusiastic. A woman reportedly flashed her breasts to the umpire, his face going as cherry pie red as his cards. A naked man made his way onto the field, stealing one of the bases, to the cheers of his compatriots and the boos of the opposition. The Beavers' first baseman was given an Umburg welcome and had 50 pounds of hot dogs thrown at him, and the coach of the Beavers was similarly initiated with a beer mug to the head. By the 9th inning, the Umburg Strikers had secured a tie for the game. This is when things really escalated. Sources say a man, encouraged by liquid courage, stumbled onto the field and struggled with the Strikers' outfielder, attempting to steal his hat. The Strikers came to their teammates' aid with bats in hand. That's when the stadium erupted into chaos, as drunken Beavers fans stormed the pitch, armed to the teeth with broken beer bottles, knives, and rocks. Both baseball teams, Beavers and Strikers, worked together to fend off the horde of drunken hooligans with their bats. The game was forfeited to Mayville just as vice cops arrived on the scene to disperse the crowd with tear gas and billy clubs. We have a caller on the line who says he was on the field during the kerfuffle. Hey, Pally, you're on the air.
Hey, Al Sweetman. Big fan. Pleasure to be on.
Great to have you with us, pal. So, what's your story, Morning Glory? Why don't you tell us about what you saw?
Whoa, where to begin? I was togged to the bricks. I ain't one for suits, but a stadium with the Strikers playing? Gotta wear your Sunday best, at least in my house. I tell you, Al, the game was all wet. Ever since Billy Flynn was off the team, the Strikers just ain't been the same. All our Strikers fans were in a rotten mood. Good thing that beer deal was on. Don't know if anyone would have shown up otherwise.
Uh-huh. How about you tell us all about the fight? How did it start?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Al. That fuss was the most ring-a-ding-ding of a time anyone had all day. I confess, of the lot, I wasn't the most, well-behaved. I may have encouraged it. A little.
Elaborate on that.
Well, there was this guy. Beavers fan. Pals with the guy who waltzed onto the pitch. It was in a group of us. Anyway, he was a real wise guy. As soon as his pal climbed the railing, obviously I started kicking up a fuss. The Strikers were on the up, for Christ's sakes. They might have turned the game around. Unfair for one of those suckers to up and ruin it. Anyway, and this wise guy pal of his, he says, "Hey, settle down, bozo." So I turns to him and I says, "Who you calling bozo?" He moseys right up to my face, lost out of his mind. And he says, "Ain't you got a circus to be at? Where's the red nose and makeup, bozo?" Right to my face.
Ouch. I take it you weren't a fan of that.
You're damn right I wasn't. I may have been dressed up all nice and that, but I'm still plenty rugged, I tells ya. I don't take squat from no big it. So I punched that twitch straight in the bush. When I saw his soul leave his body, the way his eyes rolled.
That's an understandable response. And what happened after that?
Well, he hit the floor like a sack of potatoes, and he was out for the count. The boys weren't having none of it. They jumped me on the spot. Pretty soon, I was pulling, punching, yanking, and biting whatever I could get a hold of. Pretty sure I managed to get an ear off of someone. He even managed to get a stray tooth or two from the Beaver boys. Oh, I still got him in my pocket now.
Well, hey, at least you got some souvenirs.
Yeah. Would have liked the Strikers win, too, though. Ah, shame about that Billy, huh?
Shame about that, Billy. All right, well, thanks for calling in, pal, but we've got to get on with the rest of the show. You take care, and have a good night. Hoping your weekend's brawl-free.
You and me both, Al. Hey, you have a good one.
Jeez, hell of a mess for the UPD. You know, folks, I remember the good old days when rowdiness was something you kept indoors and out of the public eye. And I'm sure, after hearing all that, you folks are missing it too. Never was a college boy. Mother said I would have been wasting their time. Had a face more for radio than the classroom and all that. Guess she was right. Still, I was known to shake up a party or two, and those are some real fond memories. So, folks, let's reminisce together. From the hometowners, here's College Day.
Never go to bed till late. That's what we're learning now at college. Rah, rah, rah. Ginger ale and alcohol makes the drink a block and fall. That's what we're learning now at college. Arithmetic is one thing that we don't know much about. No, but a little girlish figure you can always figure out. Cause 1 and 1 is always 2, but more than 2 will never do. That's what we're learning now at college. Rah, rah.